Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today's vlog is a bit more of a day in the life. I thought I might as well bring you along to everything that I'm doing today. Bring you along as if I'm literally like leaving the house, which I don't think I am. Work is kind of back up to normal recently, obviously without the events and without the meetings and all that kind of stuff. But in lieu of those, I have a lot of calls, a lot of Zoom meetings, that kind of stuff. And I'm really enjoying getting round to actually talking to people again and kind of getting my business head going, I guess. And I've got a project coming up as well that I'm sort of organising that I will speak to you guys a little bit more about once I know exactly what I'm doing. But yeah, today is probably just going to be a couple of calls, a couple of meetings, obviously not in person, and this morning was spent filming Instagram stories for a collaboration that I've got coming up as well. Busy already. It's about 10 o'clock in the morning and I'm about to go and have some breakfast. I usually get up at around 8 and then do a bit of work until I kind of get hungry around 10 a.m. and then go down and have some breakfast. Weirdly, I don't really enjoy eating kind of first thing usually unless I've done a really big run the day before and I'm absolutely starving. I did 6k yesterday, just a kind of really steady run. This morning I was not that hungry, so I think it's kind of okay to wait until you actually feel some hunger to go and have your breakfast. Obviously everyone says breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and it's certainly one of my favourite meals of the day, one of the three. Definitely in the top 3 favourite meals of the day, but having said that, it doesn't mean that you have to have your breakfast as soon as you wake up. So I'm going to go downstairs and make some of that now. Regarding my running, like I've said in a couple of vlogs previously, my running isn't like for anything at the moment. I spoke to my coach recently and I said, you know, can you give me a bit more of a structured training plan? He said, well, what are you training for? And I was like, well, this is a good point. I'm not training for anything at the moment. I'm hoping that my races are still going ahead in autumn, but I have a feeling that they probably won't be. So at the moment I'm just trying to keep some level of fitness, and looking at Strava and looking at my Polar watch app thing on my phone, it says that my fitness has actually increased, or at least my running fitness has increased over the last 3 months. So over the space of lockdown, my fitness has actually increased, which is surprising because I feel like I'd be doing a lot less. That's probably something to do with all the hills around here, but also the fact that I am just running for fun, which means I'm actually getting out almost more frequently than I was before when I was training very specifically for the half marathon, for the London Landmarks half and Brighton 10k that I was going to be doing in April. God, that feels like a long time ago. I don't even know what happened in April. I cannot remember a thing. But yeah, I'm just training for fun at the moment, and that means like some of my runs are really hard, but most of them are just pottering around for fun, enjoying myself, enjoying the views down here. Like, I'm so lucky to be able to have the countryside that we have around here and really just making the most of that. And someone asked on last week's vlog, no, the week before last, whether I felt it was kind of cheating to stop on runs or to walk or whatever it is. And I think I have covered this a few times. I do not think it is cheating. If you have a specific session that you're supposed to be doing, by all means do that session. That might not involve walking, so don't walk. But if you're just going out to have fun and to do the run that you want to enjoy, and you feel like stopping and taking some pictures of flowers, or stopping and enjoying the view of the whole coast that you can see, or just stopping because you feel like actually going too fast means that you're not making the most of your time on the run and the mental space that you want to have, I think that's absolutely fine. Honestly, like, don't beat yourself up about it. I know that I don't. I used to, and I certainly thought that, you know, if it showed me stopping loads on Strava, then people think that was cheating. And I went through a bit of a phase of that, thanks in no small part to people telling me it was cheating. But I think you're running for yourself. You're not running for other people. You're not running to impress people, probably. At least you shouldn't be. Therefore, you know, whatever you do is totally up to you. And you know, if you're stopping and if you're pausing, that you might take longer to get to where you want to get to, both physically but also in your training. You know, you might not be able to improve your speed or improve your endurance as quickly as you want, but if you're just actually out there to enjoy yourself, and there's zero problem in that whatsoever. So please don't feel guilty about enjoying your runs and not going as hard as you can every single time. That is something that I'm trying to undo in my brain, and it's taken a lot of coaching to get round the fact that I want to give it 110% every time I go running. I feel like that's okay. Having a nice chilled run is good for you, and it's good for your mental health, and it's good for your physical health as well, and it may well make you a better runner as well. So without further ado, I'm gonna go and make some breakfast, and then later this morning I've got a couple of work calls and collaboration stuff to deal with. It's very nice to have some work coming in now at the moment, because we did have a couple of months of fear that the influencer sphere was over and that nothing is going to go on. I'm trying to do a little bit more writing at the moment as well, because that's something I find incredibly enjoyable. If you haven't checked out my blog, do go and check it out. There's a lot of information on there, and I've done 4 years of writing on there about subjects that I frequently get asked about. So if you have any things that you want to research, there's a good chance that I would have already put it on my blog. And if also equally, if there's something that you would like me to put some time into researching to do with health, fitness, mental health, sustainability, the environment, all that kind of stuff, then just let me know in the comments below and I will see if I can write about it. But first of all, breakfast. Hours of work done. I've been writing a proposition for a collaboration I've got coming out, and it is about the wearing of face masks on public transport, which is obviously the new UK guidelines, but also in enclosed public spaces. And it's something that I think is going to be really important, especially for small businesses, to try and get back up and running post-COVID, I guess, post-lockdown, because a lot of people haven't been able to fulfill orders. They've just had to kind of shut up shop because they can't guarantee people's safety. But as the lockdown eases, I think more and more people will be going back to work. The use of masks, I think, will be super necessary. I don't know, like, it's really difficult to know how helpful they're actually going to be, because obviously this is a period of time that we've never experienced before, and we've got a lot more technology now than back when it was the Spanish flu or like whatever, but at the same time we've got a lot more people and a lot more businesses running, and it's going to be interesting to see how it all pans out. And I've been doing a lot of thinking recently as well about how this period of time has affected me for better or worse. Like there are definitely elements of both. I keep trying to just think of the positives, because I used to only kind of think of the negatives in any situation, and I would say naturally by nature I'm a pessimist. Believe it or not, I genuinely was a pessimist, I guess. But I used to do this thing called a gratitude journal, where at the end of every day I'd write down 3 to 5 things that I was grateful for that day. And at the beginning it was so difficult, like I really struggled to find anything that I was grateful for, and that seems really, well, ungrateful, I guess, because like obviously I've had a very privileged life, a very nice upbringing, and to not be able to think of anything that I'm grateful for in each day seems like really, I don't really know what the word is, like it just seems stupid to not be able to think of anything. But I guess when your brain is wired to think of the negative in any situation, it can be quite difficult. But anyway, after years and years of writing 3 things every single day that made me happy and that I was grateful for, now when I'm in a situation that might be seen as negative by most people, my brain's like, yeah, sure, it's negative, like I've got no work on, but at the same time that leaves me a lot more time to do things that previously I would have palmed off to do some work. So like you get some positives in that sense. And I think actually your brain automatically switches over. If you practice something every single day, your brain kind of does it automatically. So now this whole pandemic, quarantine, lockdown thing, my brain is constantly trying to think of the positives, and I hope it goes without saying that obviously I know that it hasn't been positive for everyone, and I know also that a lot of businesses are suffering massively and a lot of people and families have been as well. But I think at the same time, no matter your situation, it can be quite good to try and think of any benefits that that situation gives you. I guess it's like the whole when life gives you lemons sort of situation. One of the things that I've realised in this time is that I don't need nearly as much as I thought I needed. I'm not a massive fan of buying things. I'm not really a fan of objects or possessions or anything like that. Like I love tech, things that will make my everyday a little bit more exciting, like running watches, or like I want to know that kind of stuff. But I don't need like all the clothes I had in London. I only came here thinking that I was going to be here for like 2 weeks. So I came here with the bag on my back with a couple of outfits, knowing that I already had a few outfits here, and that's it. And I've been wearing those outfits for a long time. Since a week before lockdown started. A very long time, to be fair. Like, they haven't exactly been the most fashionable things ever. This is my dinosaur jumper. fat face boys. It used to be Fian's jumper, my boyfriend's jumper, and he passed it down to me when he realised that it definitely did not fit him anymore. It's like age 14 boys or something. I absolutely love it. It's very old. It's got a hole in the armpit. But yeah, I've just been wearing some stuff that like I've had for absolutely ages, and I haven't been thinking, oh my god, I don't have that jumpsuit that I really want to wear today. And like, whilst yes, that's probably partly to do with the fact that I have not seen anyone except for my boyfriend and his family in like 3-4 months, but it's also partly to do with the fact that, well, in everyday life, like we don't need 15 potential outfits for each day in general. And one of the projects that I mentioned earlier that I am working on at the moment will be something to do with that, but around sportswear as well. Like I know I've done some videos of my sportswear drawers in London, and I've got a bit of sportswear here, but I think I've got 3 pairs of shorts, 3 pairs of leggings and 3 sports bras, and that's plenty. Whereas in London I've got 20 pairs of leggings, and while I do use them all, I don't need them all. So that's something that I'm gonna try and rectify a little bit. And excitingly, I keep getting distracted from my work because I keep being like, I want to look at houses, because Fian and I are going to be moving to Bristol at the end of this year, or later after summer we're going to start looking. And well, I say after summer we're going to start looking, I definitely have already started looking, but I'm so excited. For those of you who don't know, Fian and I met at Bristol University. I lived there for 3 years, Fian lived there for 8, nearly 9 years. I've kind of been back and forth between London and Bristol for 5 years of my life, and absolutely love the city. We're going to be moving back, and we've been planning this for ages, because obviously Fian spends most of his time down here in Dorset, and I spend most of my time, or spent most of my time, in London. We've been together for over 5 years now, so having a 3.5 hour commute to and from London and Dorset is a little bit manic in terms of like long-term goals. So Bristol is actually weirdly kind of in between. It's a nice big city in between the two places, quote unquote. It's a bit of a triangle, but it's only 1 hour, an hour and a half, an hour and 45 from London, and it's only an hour and a half, 2 hours from here if you drive. So yeah, that's what we're looking at, and I keep getting distracted from my work because I'm looking for houses that probably won't even be on the market by the time we're looking for houses. But it's exciting. It will be my first time moving in with someone that's not flatmates or housemates or whatever from Facebook. So yeah, very excited about that, and I don't know if I should have announced that. Anyway, it's going to be happening, and you guys will see it when it happens. So yeah, if any of you live in Bristol, hit me up, because I'll probably be doing a whole load of running stuff there when I am there by the end of this year. Exciting. I'm just going to get a little bit more work done now, and then I think I'm going to have lunch, and then it is a horrible rainy day today, but I would love to take you on a tour of the garden, because I did one quite recently and it was pretty bare because we hadn't actually planted very much, or obviously I was planting things in that video, but things have grown and we're getting vegetables, we're getting fruit. So I would like to show you all of that, and hopefully we can compare it to last time, because it's like my baby. I feel very proud of the garden that we have created. So yes, I'm very excited to show you around.
Very beige meal.
Nothing wrong with that. Lunch is a toasted sandwich with tomato paste, tomatoes, and vegan jalapeno cheese. It's really good. With some hummus, rich tea biscuits, and of course, tea. First part of the garden to update is our sink herb garden. Ex-sink, now herb garden. Got 2 chilli plants in the back, some chocolate mint, some thyme, some parsley, and some chives there at the back. Okay, so here we have a bit that we redid the other day. We did these paving slabs so that when it gets all rainy, you can still walk across without sinking in the mud. And then we planted this corn along here, and previously this area was all just like wild garlic, a little bit wild, but once the wild garlic dies, it just starts rotting on the ground. So plucked all of that up, left the wild strawberries that we already had there, and then put down some better soil, because it was previously just kind of like
concrete. It looked like concrete, except it was like cracking. So we put down some better soil from the end of the garden, the compost heap, and planted that, and then we planted the rest with some grass so that it lawns up like the rest of the lawn, I guess. And then we kind of done the same over here as well. This previously was all just brown, and now it is brown and green, which is an improvement on what it was before. Okay, so follow me down to the veg patch. Okay, so about 4 weeks ago, I planted some tomatoes, rhubarb, aubergine, maybe courgette. The courgette didn't survive, but the rest of them have survived okay. So, come. Okay, so around there we have 3 rhubarbs along the outside, which turned into, what is that, butternut squash probably?
Something like that.
Something like that, maybe courgettes. And then in the middle we've got cabbage, and then is that a giant cabbage?
It's one giant one.
One giant cabbage, some spinach and potentially rocket, loads of lettuce down here. Are those beans?
Broad beans?
Broad beans, and a cabbage nub that we planted that's now growing a whole new cabbage, which is very exciting. Some kale down there, 1 radish, which is so big that I think we will be able to split it between us. Lots of tomatoes just popping up everywhere, just out of the compost. And then some other, potentially butternut squash, something like that down there. No idea what those are. And then these, my pride and joy, the tomato plants. This is the one that I planted last time we were filming, and I planted over there, and its friend, its buddy, died, so that's really sad, but we moved it to here so that it could get more sunlight, and stuck a pole in, and then we bought these 2 plants here. One's a plum tomato and one is a cherry tomato, and they're growing really well, except currently they're growing 1 tomato each, which is a £1.50 tomato so far, so maybe not the cost-saving thing that most people do when they try and grow things at home. But hopefully they're going to grow some more. They've got lots of flowers, so very excited about that. I feel so old right now, by the way. The amount of excitement that I get out of this veg patch. We did build it from scratch, didn't we? So yeah, it's pretty cool. If you go back to the previous vlog 2 weeks ago or something, then you can see what it looked like before we actually built it, which was essentially just scrubland. Hi chickies! How's it going today? Food. This is the grass area that we built / seeded a few weeks ago, and it is looking very verdant except for that bit around the outside, but we haven't had any proper rain in around, I don't know, a month now, so the grass is struggling a little bit, and same with this bit of turf that we put down last time. It's looking a little bit brown, not green, but this stuff's doing really well. It's so pretty. And our ex-hedge is finally becoming a bit more hedge-like. Our eating apple tree has started growing apples, and they're doing pretty well now. I mean, they're not massive, but they're alright. And most importantly, and it's still looking a little bit brown, is this bit up here. So we cleared all of the sedge, nettles, brambles, etc, etc was there, and then levelled it so that we can use this as a kind of seating area. The sun comes through on the right, and it's the last place in the garden to get any sunshine, and we've been trying to green it up, so as you can see there's a bit of a green haze on it now. It's actually looking like proper grass almost, except for when you get a little bit closer. So that is our next project, but we need rain. So I'm about to have a call with the Outward Bound Trust. So I got in contact with them after discovering them the other day when I was looking at what charities work with people from BAME communities to look at getting more diversity in the outdoors, and they work with the North Face to try and kind of fund people's experiences in the outdoors, because it's something that a lot of people don't view as a kind of leisure activity, and that can be to do with either lack of representation or lack of funding, lack of opportunities, but also the idea that walking is kind of work rather than for pleasure. Anyway, they're an amazing charity, and I'm trying to get them on board with something that I'm doing, which I will explain more about later. For now, I'm just doing a bit of research before having this call, because quite frankly I'm a little bit nervous. They seem to be a really big organisation, and I just sort of contacted them and was like, hey, I'd love to speak to you about you know, doing this project together, without realising that actually maybe they're massive, that maybe I'm a very small fish compared to what they are. But I guess if you don't get in contact, you can't know if you guys can work together, so no harm in having a call. Okay, Okay, so calls done and they were actually really positive. It's really nice to talk to people that aren't Fian, meaning no disrespect to Fian, obviously I love talking to him, but it's very nice to have face-to-face conversations with people via Zoom or whatever from time to time, and it's also nice to feel like I am part of a kind of community trying to make a difference, I guess, in a sense. And obviously I have a bit of a platform, not just on here but obviously on my Instagram, and some connections, and I feel like I started Instagram to try and make a difference to people's lives, as cliched as that sounds. I think that this new project will be a good further step in that, because I know how lucky I am to be able to experience the outdoors and to have kind of been raised to appreciate it and spend a lot of time in it. And I know that not everyone has that opportunity, so it feels nice to be able to take some steps towards changing that. I'm only a small piece in the puzzle of fixing the problems that are in the kind of trail running community, but I feel like as someone with a platform, and I keep saying that, but like it's just kind of true. As someone with a platform, it would be stupid not to use it for good. I don't mean this in a virtue signalling way. I just want to explain my motives behind it and why I'm doing it, rather than just kind of donating money, which I am also doing. But rather than just doing that, I feel like there's a bit more action that I am in a unique position to be able to undertake. Really positive chats, which was really nice. Of course, it then started pouring rain. I went and did a little tour of the garden again for the second time today to see what the rain had done, and everything is looking much greener. So it's really nice because we have not seen rain in about a month. So it was perfect timing actually. You guys got to see it. It was torrential for about 20 minutes and then nothing, so that'll probably be dry by tomorrow morning. I'm now doing a bit of research, not really research, I'm doing a bit of reading around boundaries, because I did an Instagram story last night on boundaries, and people believing kind of that they're entitled, I guess, to direct access to certain people online, and I am by no means the first person to think about this, and I will be definitely not the last person to talk about it as well. It's just coming to my attention, I guess, kind of more recently, that some people feel like because you have a public profile that you are public property, I guess. And whilst, like I say, I started my Instagram to help people, so that's what I'm here to do, there are certain times when I feel kind of taken advantage of, and so I'm doing a bit of reading to see how other people have spoken about this in the past, the best way to go about kind of trying to get people to be a little bit more sensitive when asking people questions, and maybe to think a little bit more for themselves. Like, I don't mean that in a rude way, but I think it's so easy to just ask people questions online rather than actually doing your own research, which I think actually has more positive outcomes. Actually doing your own research means that you find a wider range of views, a wider range of answers. I have done a lot of posts on my blog, and obviously I've done a lot of videos on here, mostly trying to answer questions that people have asked me before. So it's kind of like, my blog is basically like an FAQ answer, as well as my own sort of research, the stuff that I want to research and want to put that research somewhere. It kind of all goes on my blog, so that's environmental stuff, fitness stuff, food stuff, mental health things, all that kind of stuff. But I get asked a lot of the same questions again and again, so I did an FAQs page on my blog, then I still get asked these questions, and I understand that clicking away from Instagram can sometimes kind of feel like it takes too much time, but I want to be able to set boundaries with people so that I can be my best self, and so that I'm not being kind of aggressive or tetchy or, you know, curt with people, because I like having good discussions on social media. But when my time is taken up by answering the same questions about kit and the same questions about nutrition and diet and all that kind of stuff, I don't feel like it's the best use of my time, and I also feel like it means that I can't do everything else that I do as well as I would like. So I think it's in everyone's best interest to have some boundaries set, and without setting boundaries you can't expect people to abide by them, because you just don't have them. And I've learned this quite recently with brands as well, like working with brands who have taken advantage of both me but also other people as well, and without setting boundaries from the start you can't really expect people to respect them because they're not there. And I think the whole of the UK is very much, especially women, I guess, but there are a lot of people who don't like to say no and who always want to appear and be helpful, and there's nothing wrong with that in and of itself, but when it starts impacting your mental health and when it starts impacting your ability to do other things, the things you actually want to do and the things that actually make a difference, then it becomes problematic. That's my long way of saying I'm reading about that. I'm reading some stuff on it now, and I'm gonna do probably an Instagram post tonight, or I'm gonna write something. Just if I don't set the boundaries, people won't respect them, and I want to be able to continue doing this without kind of crying myself to sleep every night out of frustration. So I think that's important to do, and I hope it doesn't come across rude, because I know I'll get some messages from people saying, you know, well, why did you start your social media if you didn't want to be contacted by people? But yeah, it's a bit of a difficult topic, and one that's quite complicated and multifaceted, so hopefully I can write about it and that will sort it out in my own head as well. Anyway, I'm going to do that now, and then I'm going to go for a walk because I am kind of hyperactive after 3 cups of tea and 2 very exciting conversations over the phone, so I need to get the energy out somehow.
Is that or is that not the biggest flower you have ever seen? Probably bigger than my hand. Just set off on our walk. That's the rain. That is very much coming this way. Woo! So looking forward to that. This is cool.
Smells good.
Pilfering thieves. Pilfering
Very dirty wild
strawberries. Good luck putting those in your pocket.
You have to carry them the whole way back.
This is very countryside, isn't it? Yummy. And these are cool. What are these? Hot pokers. Red hot pokers, I like that name. I've been snacking throughout the afternoon. This is a little nature bomb, I think it is. It's a little proteiny chocolate thing. Probably something to do with how beige my lunch was. But we got dinner in probably about an hour. I'm gonna do some work until then and snack until I get to eat again. Okay, this program is called Your Garden Made Perfect. And in lockdown, I've become totally obsessed with it. Basically, they go around to someone's house and they do like a garden redesign, which sounds like the most middle class, old age person thing to do, and I am totally down with that. Anyway, it's really fun and it's just come on now. Perfect timing. Thanks.
Not sure what it's going to be.
What is it?
What's it called?
You can call it whatever you like. Eric?
Lentil roast.
Vegan meatloaf.
Lentil roast. Eric, the lentil roast.
That is it for today. We're hopping into bed now. We're just on a new series called The A Word, which is about a young autistic boy and the family around him. It's really good so far. We're only on episode 3 of season 1. I think there are 3 seasons so far. And previously we've just finished When They See Us, which is on Netflix, and about the abuse of the police system in the US and basically how racist it is, and I would really recommend everyone watch that. It is eye-opening, mind-boggling, sadly not as surprising as I had hoped it might be, but really, really worth watching. I didn't want to watch past the first episode, but I'm really glad that we did because it was really fantastically done. And the same director has done another film called The 13th, so that is next on our list as well. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy this video, please do give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button, share it with your friends, and I will see you next time. Bye!